Hey there, friends, it's Walt. So I have a question for you. How often do you stop? I'm not talking about traffic lights or intersections. I'm not talking about stopping in the bank line. I'm not talking about stopping while you're waiting for your Zoom platform to reload. I'm talking about like really stopping the action, stopping the doing and just being. How often do you do that? And I'm betting it's probably not often enough. You know, many of us do cool things. We have interesting work. We have friends and family and fun things to occupy ourselves when we're outside of our careers. And all of that is good. For me, life is an action sport. I am usually playing full out all of the time, and I like it. But that pace isn't sustainable. And before the pandemic, the pandemonium, I had a regular practice that I really found to be very, very useful. And about once a quarter, 3-4 times a year, I would book a day, sometimes 2 or 3 days away at a retreat center. One of my favorites was the Weston Priory in Weston, Vermont. And I would go there off the grid. And the very cool thing about Weston, I remember the first time I went there, I couldn't believe it, but there was no cell phone coverage. And I'm like standing on the bed trying to see if I can get the cell phone to connect, and it didn't, which was a good thing. And so those regular retreats, those regular times off the grid were so nurturing, so renewing for me. And then, of course, the pandemic came and everything changed, and I fell out of practice with that. And I realized that this year that it really was something I needed to dial back in. And so for the first time in a long, long time, I took a day at a beautiful retreat center right on the North Atlantic Ocean. And one of the nor'easters was clearing away and the ocean was all roiled up and the cold winter wind was blowing across it. And inside was cozy and quiet and still. And it was an entire day of just being. Not reading, not scrolling, not thinking. It was just a quiet day of being. And I came away so rested and recharged and renewed. You know, when I teach meditation to entrepreneurs and business professionals, I often will actually take a snow globe with me, one of those old holiday snow globes that you shake up and the flakes swirl around inside. And then you put it down on the table on the counter and the flakes begin to settle and everything begins to clear. And that is the gift of meditation. Meditation has been a practice of mine for some 30 years, probably the single most important practice in my life. And yet, you know, day in and day out, it becomes sometimes another thing to do, another thing in the slipstream of life, another thing to check off, and interrupting that pattern of life, interrupting the flow of it, and taking that entire day can change everything and come back rested and renewed and recharged and recalibrated and reconnected with those things that matter most. My invitation to you is look at your calendar. You may need to put it out a few weeks or a few months, but I'd invite you to get a date on your calendar where you could go somewhere away from the house, away from the office, away from the noise of the daily life, and just connect with you. It will make all the difference in the world. Make it a great rest of the day, great rest of the week. Bye for now.